Hello, stitchy friends. My name is Claire, and this is my channel all about cross stitch. And you are very, very welcome to join me here today. Thank you for kind of hitting play, and some of you have hit subscribe, and that's fantastic. And I want to say a big thank you to everybody who has commented on my last video and reached out to me and said that they're happy to see me back in the Flosstube universe. So I am very happy to be back as well. Now, today it is absolutely chucking it down outside. We are on the 5th of September, and autumn seems to have hit with a bang and a flood. So I've been waiting for natural light to film all day, and we're in mid-afternoon now, and it's not happening. So I've got the big overhead light on, which means that um, lots of horrible light is coming down, and might affect the colours of what I'm going to wave in front of you. But we just have to kind of work with what we've got. Otherwise, I'm not going to film today. So that's where we're at. Okay, so I've got my little notebook here by the side of me. So if I'm looking down, that's why I'm looking at my notes, because I've got so much to tell you that I will forget otherwise. So what have I been up to since my last floss tube? I went on a holiday to France with my family and a lovely group of family friends, and we had a lovely time. And I spent a lot of that time stitching in this wonderful French gîte in the Normandy countryside. It was wonderful. And so I will show you what I was working on while I did that. And then I also went to Greenbelt Festival, which is a festival that happens up in Northampton over August bank holiday. And so me, my family, my kids, a load of our friends, we all went and had a wonderful time. And of course, I spent a lot of the time my little kind of camping chair, listening to fabulous music and stitching. So again, I'll show you what I did there. Um, Now, normally in September, I would be getting ready to go to the Six Needles retreat, which is happening not this weekend, but next weekend in the hotel, Novotel in Stansted Airport. And I'm really sad that I'm not going to be going this time. Um, it's for a really lovely reason. One of my friends is getting married, but I do think it's a little bit rude of her that she chose that particular weekend to get married. But oh well. So I'm gonna miss it. And I was so gutted that I kind of was scouring around to see if I could do something else to take my mind off it, and came across Stitch in London. Now, Stitch in London is hugely popular, and I thought, well, I'm not going to get in, but speculatively put my name down, and not expecting at all to get in. And then a couple of weeks ago, I got an email from Marie, who runs it, saying you've got a place. So, I'm going on weekend 2 of Stitch in London, which is going to be on the 11th of October. So I do have a retreat to look forward to. Hooray! Okay, so basket. What's in my basket this month? Not so much as it turns out, because I don't have a huge amount of autumn smalls, which I am working on. But I've got a number of Halloween smalls, but they don't come out in September. So what have I got? Let me see. This one is officially a Halloween one, but it doesn't say Halloween. And this one is For the Birds, and it's one of the spooked bonus charts from Lizzie Kate. So I thought, well, that'll do. That's one. This one is also slightly Halloweeny. Oh, he's smiling. I call him my happy pumpkin dude. And this one was a freebie from Plum Street Samplers, and it's called Brouhaha. And it's still available if you go on their blog, but it's back in like 2015 or something, I think. I thought I would keep the sunflowers from the summer. Oh, the light. Oh, the light. I'm so sorry about the light. And there's another sunflowers, and these are from Ink Circle's Patreon. Stitched on sparkly green from Sparklies. Got a little fox felty guide in there that I did. Still got the flowers, what are they? Coneflower seeds from the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch, Priscilla and Chelsea. I called them Desperate Housewives last month. Sorry. Still got my peace sheep. We still need that. And this one is the Acorn Fairy by Stitchy Princess Black. She's a Ukrainian designer. And I like that one. Look, her little nose. And the last one in here is Fox Pew by Plum Street Samplers. One of their animal stacks. So that's my basket. So what have I been working on this month? I have not one finish, but cheers. So this one I finished while I was in France, and it is Santa's Trips by Barbara Anna. My phone is going. I think it's because it's school kick-out time and my kids are going, because it's raining. Just going to mute that. There we go. So Santa's Trips. Available through Creative Poppy. It's Barbara Anna Designs. There we go. That's a bit better. And I just love it. It is so much fun. He's riding all these animals with Mrs. Claus. And it's finished. And my other finish is one that I finished in the fields of Greenbelt Festival, listening to music. And she is My Lady's Quaker by Jardin Privé. And I didn't do the alphabet at the bottom, but I just adore her. My Elizabeth Bennet, as I call her, with her hands on her hips and her hair all messy. And she is finished. So I am so pleased with those two. I've been working on both of them for a number of years, on and off, as you know, the way I do things. And yeah, to finally finish them is just lovely. So I'm also stitching on my Gentleman's Quaker, which is My Lady's Quaker companion piece. I haven't really touched it in a while. This is what it looks like. And again, I'm going to be leaving off the letters so that he will match my lady. And I'm going to be putting blue and green in with the black for him. And that's as far as I've got on him so far. He's got some legs and half a dog. And I am going to be using this green from Sparklies, which is Flower Jade. The light is dreadful, I'm so sorry. And the blue is Blue Jay from Gentle Art. And of course, 310. So they will eventually be able to hang on my wall together. So those were my finishes, and then I've got a pile of whips. Now, I tend to stitch on a number of things every day. I just do a few lengths in this one, put it down, pick something else up, do a few lengths in that. I'm like a little butterfly kind of flitting between them, and that's how I stitch. It's very rare that I just stitch on one thing during the day. I've found over the years that my stitchy bug just dies if I just focus on one thing. So that's why I have a lot of whips, not a massive amount of progress on most of them, but that's okay. That's fine. I do get finishes. So there isn't much progress on my beautiful sea turtle. I think I've only stitched on this guy once since my last Flosstube because I stitch on him on my crafternoons on Tuesdays and it wasn't on in August. Oh goodness, you can't tell the blue at all. The beautiful blue. So there's not much stitching done on him yet. So maybe next month there'll be some more. I'm trying to get a length of thread every day in on this piece by Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery, which I am stitching with a bunch of friends from the Big Stitch. And it's officially called the Embroidered Ribbons from the Island of Marken, and I call it Jacob's Bands. And so I'm stitching this on 20 count Ada, which is the first time I've stitched on 20 count Ada. And that is as far as I've got. And the words at the top read faith, love and hope. Faith, love and hope in Dutch. And he does provide an English version that you can kind of swap in instead. But because these are based on real bands that were stitched by Dutch ladies, I wanted to keep it to the original. And so this is the thread I'm stitching it with. That's the one I'm doing the border in. That's going to be the next colours band. And it's one strand of cotton, Pearl 12 cotton from Paintbox Threads. And those are the other colours that the bands are going to be. And another one I'm trying to get a little bit done on each day is another one from the Big Stitch, which is Big Stitch Big Tree, also by Jacob from Modern Folk Embroidery. Stitching in this beautiful garnet thread, and this is all I've got left from skein 1. I've got 4 skeins of that, and this is as far as I've got. Beautiful. Big Stitch Big Tree. And then one of the organisers of the Big Stitch was Sammy from the Old Barn Stitching Co. And she's released 3 freebies, which are kind of little autumn smalls. And the idea is that she is going to be releasing 3 each season. And this is the first lot. And as we know, I need more autumn smalls and not Halloween ones. And so I've started the first, well, I've nearly finished actually, the first one of the 3, which is this one. And I've pretty much stuck to the colours. I've nearly finished it. And then there's 2 more to go. And this is available free if you go to littleloops.co.uk or search for Old Barn Stitching Company, and you can get these for free. And they're gorgeous little freebies, so go and hunt those out. Now, the next one is one that I've been stitching on for a while, and it is You Were Hatched by Teresa Wentzler. And I have so nearly finished. So I'm so close, I can taste it. Only a small one, but there is a huge amount of stitching. As anyone who's stitched as a Teresa Wentzler will know, there is a deceptively huge amount of stitching in these. And this is where I am. And all I've got left is the back stitching around the mummy, and then I've got to back stitch the baby. And I've done all the other back stitch. I've back stitched the border with Krynic. I mean, the whole thing is so sparkly because I've got lots and lots of blending filament in this as well, but it's not letting the sparkle show up. But I reckon one more evening is gonna finish that. So next time I see you, I'll have a finish. Next whip, Snowdrop Cottage. And this is from Cross Stitcher magazine. And I'm trying to kind of do a band of it before I put it away again and pick up another band sampler or something like that. So that's as far as I have got. So I had already done the top section, and I've been doing the brown spotty bit and the pink bit underneath it. And I will finish those bands and then put this away again. I like snowdrops. And my last whip that I want to show you is when I finished Santa's Trips. I always like to have a Barbara Anna on the go because they're just fun to pick up. And this one is called Strawberry Time. And it's on a gorgeous piece of, it's really not being picked up, blue and pink Chromatic Alchemy 32 count. Yeah, ignore all of this business here. And I was sat in a queue to go into a venue at the Greenbelt Festival, and I had this out and I was stitching away. And a lady came up to me and she said, I like cross stitching as well. Can I have a look at what you're doing? And so we got into conversation, and turns out that she is going to Stitch in London weekend 2 as well. Um, which my friends in the group that were sat with me were completely blown away by, thought was hilarious. And they were like, how can this be in this field of thousands of people? You know, just this random person comes up and it turns out you're going to be spending the weekend together later on. And we'd never seen each other before. So it's one of these wonderful cross stitch coincidences. I'm stitching on her. Okay, now Sampler September. I have never really participated in Sampler September before because samplers, also I thought, are not my kind of thing, really. I've never stitched a reproduction sampler. I shudder at the thought of stitching on 40 counts, let alone, 56 count or anything else like that, that a lot of the dedicated sampler stitches kind of gravitate towards. I like bright colours and modern-ish designs. But lately I have been kind of eyeing up a lot of the samplers and kind of thinking, do you really quite like them? I blame watching Carol Saltbox Stitcher and Kim the Contented Kim, no, what was it? The Contented Needleworker Kim or something like that on Flosstube because they have stunning pieces. And then I thought, hang on a minute, I actually do have some samplers that I've stitched in the past. So before I show you what I'm going to be stitching on this month, let me show you some things that I've done in the past, which are not necessarily in the same vein as the reproduction samplers are very popular, but samplers. And, oh no, let me show you this one first. Now the light, because this one is framed, so let's see what kind of glare and reflection we get. Oh, it's not too bad, I don't think. This, you can see the screen. This is the Fantasy Sampler by Teresa Wentzler. And so we've got the letters up there, and then we've got lots of different border going on, lots of specialty stitches. So this one hangs on the wall in our living room, and it's got sampler in the name, isn't it? So Teresa Wentzler's Fantasy Sampler. And I also did Teresa Wentzler's Castle Sampler. And this is not framed because I'm naughty. It does need to be framed. It's huge and it's beautiful. And it's got 1/1 letters in the border and numbers at the bottom. A big panel of medieval musicians and the castle. So yeah, I need to get this one framed. That's a sampler. The castle sampler, it's in the name. And then this one is by Ink Circles and is a really fun piece that I stitched a few years ago. Again, is not framed. And this is Little Alien Schoolgirl by Ink Circles. And this is stitched on 18 count Ada. I think it's vintage country mocha. So nothing special, but it looks lovely. And it's a really fun stitch. So that's a sampler. But I thought that I would kind of dip my toe into the reproduction sampler world. So for this September, what I did was I went to Hands Across the Sea website and I downloaded Jane Marshall, which is Jane Marshall 1857, one of their little gem designs. And I saw Stitchy Rach, who has a Flosstube, was stitching this next to me at the Essex Needles retreat this time last year. and I was admiring it and saying how beautiful it was, particularly kind of around here. And it got me kind of thinking that maybe reproduction samplers might be quite nice to do. So I got that one, and then I was just kind of while I'm on the website, I'll just keep looking as you do, and I found a really special one which I couldn't leave, and I'll tell you why. This is Esther Pickford, 1847. Now, it's bold, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, but that's not why I bought it. Pickford, it was my first surname. It was changed when I was a child for family reasons, but Pickford was my first surname. It's a family name that goes back generations. Esther is the name of my youngest daughter. And she is 12 this year. And I was looking at it and I was like, I have to stitch it. I have to and I have to start it this year while my Esther is 12. And I showed it to my mum, and mum said because it's an English sampler and it could very well be an old relative of ours back in the family tree. We don't know. But isn't she beautiful and bright? So, which one do I do? They're both gorgeous. I started them both. Of course I did. So, Jane Marshall. I didn't manage to find the DMCs in my stash for the top letters. So they're still blank. The DMCs arrived yesterday, so I'll be able to start filling it in. Right. But I've managed to start getting some of the borders in and some of the letters. And I'm looking forward to getting to the really colourful flowery bit down here. And my Esther, I started yesterday when the floss arrived. And I'm stitching both of these just in DMC. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. My actual Esther returned home from school. So I started this Esther yesterday, and I decided to stitch her on green, which some of the more traditional reproduction sampler stitchers might want to kind of chase me with, pitchforks. You can't really see because the light is dimming everything, but it's one of the Sparkly's Fabric of the Month, and it's a beautiful green. And these are the colours that Esther chose to make her sampler with. So I think that she would approve of my choice of green fabric. And if she is an ancient relative from far down the family tree, then our family has a history of quite interesting women, shall I say, who make interesting choices with their lives and enjoy a bit of colour. So I think she would approve. So I am now officially stitching 2 reproduction samplers. Who am I? I don't know. But let me just point this out to you. So this has got lots of satin stitch all around the border. So the whole border, Jane, there we go. The whole border is satin stitch. Well, I'm not very experienced at satin stitch, and so I pulled these out and restitched them 3 times yesterday. 3 times! And I've got to do it all the way around. And so I went onto Instagram and realised that quite a lot of people who stitch her don't even bother with this bit. But I will. I will honour Esther and her original vision, and I will stitch the satin stitch. There we go. So that's all my whips. All my plans. Well, even though I'm not going to the Essex Needles retreat next week, my friends there are starting a stitch along together, and I'm joining in anyway. So I will be starting next weekend, Retreat House, from Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. So there's a bunch of us who are stitching that. And I'm going to be stitching mine on a piece of kind of yellowy straw colour, quite mottled. It's another fabric of the month from Sparklies, with these gorgeous DMCs. And I got these DMCs when I was in America over Easter. So got these from Hobby Lobby at 53 cents each, which is an absolute steal. But they are going to look gorgeous on this yellow. And I'm still continuing to kit up my 50 starts for next year, my 50 for 50. Yeah. And I keep changing my mind on what I want my starts to be. So I'm only kitting up the ones I'm definitely going to do. And that now I've dipped my toe into the reproduction sampler world, I might kind of change a few of my choices. And I still want to leave a few gaps open for things that I am inspired to start next year that aren't even released yet, or I don't know about yet, or no one's gone, hey Claire, shall we stitch this together yet? Because I'm a bit of a sucker for that. So I need to leave some gaps for those kind of things. So I'm still kitting up those. So in October, I'm looking forward to going to the Knitting and Stitching show in Ali Pali. And I'm going on the Thursday, which is the day before I'm going on the Stitch in London retreat. So that's going to be a really cool stitchy weekend. And I'm going to have to make sure that I don't spend all my pennies at the Knitting and Stitching show, because I'm absolutely sure I'm going to need some on the retreat weekend, which I'm very much looking forward to. But I will tell you a little bit more about that as and when it happens. So that's me. That's my September update. It's actually calmed down a bit outside. Oh, no, one thing I forgot to show you, because it's sat on this side and not where all my other things are. Celestial Companions. And I need to get to here by the end of September to be on track, to be keeping up with my goals. And I'm slightly behind. I always get slightly behind in August because I go away. And if you lose kind of a week or 2 weeks of stitching, then monthly goals tend to fall by the wayside. So I've got just a little bit to do to catch up on August, not very much, and then go down to the bottom for the end of the month. And that will be another whole row of pages finished. I love it so much. Yeah. I'm glad I remembered to show you that. Don't fall. Okay, so that's me. Thank you very much for staying with me. Thank you very much for watching my little video in my little corner of cross stitch world. Do say hello in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully next month. Take care and happy stitching. Bye.